Hello, everybody, and welcome to Attendance Bias. I am your host, Brian Weinstein. Today, we conclude our venue preview mini-series for the Phish 2026 Summer Tour at the place where most fans will be thrilled to return, Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City, Colorado. This whole idea of a venue preview series was inspired last year when Phish decided to, for whatever reason, skip Dick's and play Folsom Field in Boulder. Everyone knew everything there was to know about Dick's, but Boulder was kind of a mystery to the fan base at large, not just people in Colorado, but everyone outside of there. So I thought, well, why not do a preview of this new to Phish venue? And everything went from there until we were covering every venue on the summer tour last year. Now we're here back previewing every venue, and this year it includes Dick's. After many months, or maybe even a year, fans were thrilled to hear a return to normalcy where the band will play 3 nights, the traditional Labor Day weekend at Dick's, September 4th, 5th, and 6th this summer. When I decided to put this mini-series together after last year, the idea of previewing Dick's was a bit of a challenge. The band has been playing the venue for so long, and it's such a fan favorite. What is there to actually preview about it? Luckily, today's guest, Stacie Ledden, has seen almost every Colorado Phish show going back to 1997. Not just Dick's, we're talking about the whole state. That's an achievement in itself, but she also has a great memory, and she picks out her favorite moments of seeing Phish at Dick's going back 15 years and 42 shows. As a result, this episode does provide the basics about Dick's Sporting Goods Park, Commerce City, the surrounding area, everything else, but it's also a retrospective of the band's high points provided by Stacie. And boy, there are plenty of high points to review, whether it's a themed show, a jam of the year, or even a standout version of the Squirming Coil. But let's hear it all from Stacie as we wrap off the 2026 summer tour at Dick's on September 4th, 5th, and 6th at Commerce City. Stacie, welcome to Attendance Bias. Thank you for being here today so that we can preview Phish's 3 nights this year at Dick's on September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2026. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here with you, Brian. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm excited to have you here because we are returning to Dick's. I am not, but we as a community are going back, after last year, and that'll be probably the first thing I'll ask you. What did you think last year when we were in Boulder and Folsom Field compared to Dick's? But before we get there, we are returning this year. How does it feel looking forward to it?
Excited. It feels like coming home. I am sitting right now 10.6 miles from Dick's Sporting Goods Park here in my home. So Boulder was amazing. Folsom is beautiful. It helped. I am so grateful for my designated drivers. Of course, we had a pretty easy time getting back and forth last year. It was an amazing experience, but it feels good to be coming home.
What is your history with attending shows there? Have you been to every single run just the last couple of years? Do you love the venue? Do you hate the venue? Give us a little overall. What is your history with Dick's?
Yes, I have been to every Phish show there, 42 shows. I camped, our crew, Jam Crew, shout out Jam Crew, camped there 2013 to 2018, even though, we're only 15, 18 minutes away. We'd go set up our village, for the weekend and had a lot of experience doing that. I've only attended one other event at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and it was the U.S. Costa Rica qualifying game for the World Cup in 2013. Here, let me say, Snow Classico is how it's referred, where it dumped 6 inches of snow on the field, March 22nd, 2013. One of the coolest sporting events I've ever attended. Just happened to be out there at Dick's as well. Same crew, too, that we go see Phish with. So, but yes, the venue is beloved. And again, really excited to be back there.
I've never been to a show at Dick's. Regular listeners of Attendance Bias know I am a school teacher in New York, and in New York, school starts the day after Labor Day. So I've just kind of made my peace with the idea that whether it's 3 or 4 nights, it kind of doesn't matter. 2/3 of the way across the country, I couldn't just reset and come back, like make it back on Labor Day on Monday, get the flight home, and then have to just snap into attention and be in front of a bunch of middle schoolers at 7:30 in the morning the next day after a 3 night or 4 night Phish run. So is the special thing about Dick's, like what you just said, that even if you live 18 or 20 minutes away, that it's like a festival setting?
It is the festival setting. You can see the view. So Commerce City is east, northeast of Denver proper, and it's out starting out on the plains. And you can see the view of the mountains in the distance. There is, the vast, big Colorado sky. There's always epic sunsets at Dick's, when we're there that time of year. There's a feeling in the air, I would say. It encapsulates all of the laid backness I think that people treasure here in Colorado. It's definitely a vibe. And because there have been so we've had so many experiences out there, so many shows, being holiday weekend, fitting 25,000 people, so many people, so many fans who have been able to come back year over year, whether they live here or are coming from other places. Really, there is incredible rituals. That's one of the things that really impresses me, that I look forward to, is like the ritual. I mean, we love rituals when it comes to Phish in general, anyways. Those rituals are ingrained in that Dick's experience that I think is part of what makes it really special as well.
Other than Madison Square Garden, I would guess that the venue that most people on this podcast have spoken about the most would be Dick's. Just off the top of my head, my guess. And the phrase that a lot of people use is like, it's like a family reunion, that it's people who they see once a year for these exact 3 days, Memorial Day weekend, or not more, Labor Day weekend. It's always the same people. They have their, like you said, rituals and traditions. Everybody gets in, although it seems that lately in the last few years, tickets have been a bit more of a premium than they were at the beginning of this whole ritual when they first started playing there in 2011. It's almost like a comfort zone for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I think that is that the Colorado vibe, seeing the mountains, the weather, even though, of course, the weather has acted against us a few times over the years, which is part of the lore. But it is a family reunion. And the thing, too, I think that one of the things that makes it really special is the GA on the floor, GA in the stands in a venue that big. So you are able to be with all of your friends. There's no other venue really where it's such a destination. So many people do go year over year. So I actually have been in the same spot in that venue for all 42 shows I'm sorry, 41. S set, I was page side. But 41 of the shows, I've always been in the same spot on the floor. And we have our landmarks there too, right? It's like 30 feet back from the Butterstick mic side, in between 104, 105, right? All our crews have started to merge together too. So when you're on the floor, or wherever your people congregate, but for me, in that spot on the floor, I will do a 180 and look around, and it's like 5 people deep on every side of people that I love, from all over. And there's nowhere really else that I've personally experienced that.
We'll get into more of the history of the band at Dick's. Before we get there, though, just generally, let's look at the Rick Steves part of this podcast, this episode. For any fans, let's say they're coming to the shows, but they've never been to Dick's, right? Let's say it's my first year coming. Any insider tips?
One, use the trains coming from the airport if necessary. We have a train that comes from the airport to Union Station in downtown Denver. If you have to come in, if you're a teacher, you have to, you're coming in right before showtime. I have so many friends who are teachers, so I really appreciate that. You're coming in right before showtime. You can get on the train from the airport and get dropped off at, let's say, 40th in Colorado. If your friends listen to you, they'll get off at 480th in Colorado. And most people are coming on 70 East, swoop you up, take you to, get to Dick's in time for the show. Definitely recommend using the trains. and this is a somewhat, I'm not going to say shameless plug, but there is an outstanding public library in Commerce City, Colorado. And I actually worked for that library system for 15 years. Anythink Libraries, it's a public library, and they have a beautiful little library there in Commerce City, not too far from the venue. So if you need air conditioning, if you need to print anything out, if you're looking for recommendations, amazing little library there, and great libraries throughout Adams County where Dick's Sporting Goods Park is located. One of the things that really makes Dick's really magical too is shakedown. I think it can get really dusty out there though too. So I always wear like my buff, my Wookles buff. Shout out to Wookles, but a hometown favorite there. But you know, being prepared for the elements, the wind, and the dust, and sometimes the rain. And then also in Commerce City, right up against Dick's Sporting Goods Park, is the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, which is 15,000 acres of open lands. And it's really quite beautiful. The plains there, really rich history. There's also a buffalo herd of about 250 buffalo out there, but it's right next to the venue, and no dogs allowed because of the wildlife out there. So just for you dog owners, but just an absolute beautiful asset. And something I don't think even a lot of folks who live here in Denver really go visit and check out. But so those are just a couple things to think about.
I get the sense that Commerce City is kind of, I don't know, kind of like the Staten Island of Denver. And what I mean by that is kind of like, you all know about it. It's there. There might be some places you have to stop by and, oh, it's in Commerce City, but it's not, if you're visiting Denver, it's not a place you normally hang out.
You know, I think that there's rich history for the people that live there in Commerce City. And it's an interesting place because there's kind of a downtown area that's very different than some of the developments, like neighborhoods that are developed. There's an interesting tension between a lot of families and low income families, as well as you know, kind of middle class suburban folks. Phish coming to Dick's is one of the biggest economic drivers in Commerce City, actually. But the people who live there don't really know anything about the fans or the music. But that's why I love shouting out the library, encouraging people to go see kind of like you know, we go there every the year. It's so revered, but I don't know if people really know very much about, you know, like the town, the city itself. It's very industrial too. So it's an interesting place for sure.
Any recommendations for places to eat or drink? Your favorites, local places?
We have so many options here and a lot of fans. You know, we've got Esther's and Fire on the Mountain, a lot of folks, fan run businesses. I'm partial to places like My Brother's Bar, which is one of the oldest bars in Denver. Kerouac and Neil Cassidy hung out there. You know, like we've got this great, rich beat history here in Denver. So I tend to like some of those holes in the wall that have been around for a while because it's always changing. And we've got amazing parks here in Denver too. So you know, even just going to some of the markets like Central Market or Stanley Marketplace, or and you know, grabbing some things and like going to the park and hang out. I think that's a good way to go as well.
Well, let's take a look at the venue history aside from Phish, and then we'll get to the Phish history within it. So, Dick's Sporting Goods Park primarily is home to the MLS, Major League Soccer, Colorado Rapids. It opened in 2007 specifically for the MLS, and according to the venue's website, it holds up to 27,000 for concerts. I would imagine, and you could tell me if you think this way or not, that they stuff it a little bit over capacity for Phish. And I only say that based on what friends have told me and stories that I've heard over the years, that it seems to get a little bit more crowded every year, and yet it's sold out every year.
Yeah, a couple of years, I think 22, it felt like it was pretty crowded. 24 didn't feel as bad, but that was a major year for Phish. We thought this was, you know, right after Mondegreen and Sphere that year and things. So it had loosened up a bit the last time they played there.
And as we mentioned, we both talked about it is located in Commerce City, which is just a stone's throw from the Denver city limits. It seems to be, and you don't seem this way, but just I'm talking about social media, phish.net, message board, stuff like that. It seems to be the only pet peeve that a lot of people have is its location, because when people want to go see Phish, they want to go right from the bars, right from the restaurant, straight to the venue. And that seems to be a little bit difficult with Commerce City, let's say, compared to, Madison Square Garden, which is right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. But ironically, when I went to go see Phish in Boulder last summer, my wife and I stayed in Denver before those shows. We went to a Rockies game, and then our hotel was in Commerce City. So I was really
Yeah.
trying to take it in. I tried to do a little mental mind switch. Oh, maybe I'm here for dicks. Convince myself. I thought it was a perfectly fine place to stay. It was very close to the airport. It was not too far from generic, but I'll say serviceable fast food, casual restaurants. But yeah, if you're there to party 3 or 4 nights in a row, like you said earlier, it's kind of a deserted industrial part of town. But on the flip side, it's a perfect location for a 25,000 person capacity soccer stadium. It seems to fit right in. Dick's does to its location. It's not an accident.
No, not and the trade-off is those like wide expanse, beautiful views, a venue that really, in most cases, is a well-oiled. We are well-oiled after all of these years of going out there, and I think like the staff are as well, in expectation of us. But, that was why camping was so critical for us too. That to be able, and to your point, when we kicked things off, that festival atmosphere, like the vibe on those those Dick's campgrounds were, one of a kind, truly.
Yeah, what was it? The plague, was it groundhogs? Was that
Yep.
yeah,
Hmm.
right? They were carrying the plague.
Prairie dogs.
Prairie
Prairie
dogs.
dogs. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. 2019.
right.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been camping since.
There hasn't been camping
All
since, but
right.
they've also built houses right up to the venue. And so I think it may be less about the prairie dogs and more about the sound these days. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I know I live in Forest Hills in Queens, and I know all about people who live near a music venue complaining about the sound. So
Right.
that's not news to me. When I was looking into the history of the venue itself, separate from Phish, there isn't much, other than soccer and rugby matches. And even that I found to be a bit of a stretch, because every single team, when it comes to soccer, has its fans, but MLS is kind of low on the totem pole when it comes to fan interest in soccer, even in America. But it should be noted that although Phish is like our first thought when it comes to Dick's, there are a lot of other big time acts that have played the venue on a regular basis. Like, I just did a quick scan of Dick's concert history. Dave Matthews Band has played there a number of times. The Mile High Music Festival, Bass Nectar, surprised me with 2 shows in 2016. Luke Bryan, Guns N' Roses, but the 2021 version of Guns N' Roses,
Yep.
Green Day, among others. It seemed to me that Dick's is the perfect size venue for acts who are too big for arenas, but maybe too small for professional football stadiums, like a kind of in between area for them to play. So, like, big time names that may need a co headliner or a big opening band to sell out a smaller stadium, but it's still a stadium. Like, I doubt that Green Day is going to play Mile High Stadium anytime soon, but they can move 30,000 tickets in Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting though that I think that the reason we haven't seen more bands play there is just we have a wealth of uh, venues here, right, in Colorado, and so even Colorado Springs now has a nice new venue, and so people are going to Red Rocks. They were going to First Bank when that was open, but maybe with the closing of that, we may see more at Dick's.
Is there anything notable about Dick's other than Phish plays there every Labor Day weekend?
Well,
You don't have to feel
uh,
bad if the answer is no. It's okay.
yeah. I think it's a beautiful venue. I get emotional seeing it, come up on the horizon just because of my spent a lot of time in that place, but the answer is probably no, and who knows what's in store for that place over the next 10 years or so.
Sure, and don't feel bad. It's okay to separate emotions. The same could be
Yeah.
true for, millions of pieces of tract housing in the United
Yeah.
States, but that doesn't mean they're not special. It's the
Yeah,
people who live there
totally.
that make it special. And that's the case with Dick's, I think. Hi, everybody. Brian here to welcome you to the set break of today's episode of Attendance Bias. First, thank you for listening. And second, just a quick reminder to tell you that even though attendance bias comes to you for free, it does take a lot of work and it does take quite a bit of money to keep the lights on here at production. So I just wanted to ask a small favor if you could support the podcast in any number of the following ways. If you could leave a review or a rating of it on whichever podcast app you use. If you could spread the word, telling a friend or someone you think may be interested in it about it. Or probably the most concrete way is to go to www.buymeacoffee.com/attendance bias and donate however much you can financially to help with the continuing costs of attendance bias. So thank you again so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the second half of today's episode. But now let's dig into it. Let's take a look at Phish's history. So if not for Phish, I would guess that any fans outside Colorado would not really be aware of Dick's Sporting Goods Park unless they're deep into MLS. I remember when Phish came back in 2009, it seemed like they were making an effort to find a Colorado venue that they could visit on the regular. I'm curious as to your thoughts about this as a Colorado resident. And have you been in Colorado since then or before then?
Yes, I moved to Colorado from outside of Reading, Pennsylvania for college in 1997. So got here right before 11/17/97, which was perfect timing because 11/16, 11/17, pretty epic. They had already made their mark on me, but it was the right move. And yes, so I've seen, I didn't, until we were doing this podcast, I didn't really know this was a statistic of mine, but every Phish show in Colorado, besides one night of Red Rocks and the Pepsi Center in '03, since 1997. So a lot of Colorado Phish. Yeah, they love us. They love it. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful. And I understand why too. I mean, obviously there's a lot of love for them here and the vibe and their long history. I was thinking of too about, 2010 Broomfield, but they also played Telluride that summer too.
Right.
And so like thinking about them being in Telluride in the beginning, 2 nights in the beginning of August, and then turning back around and coming back in October and doing 3 nights of Broomfield. I mean, they were looking for somewhere to dig their heels in, and really grateful it was Dick's for sure, because this is not probably a popular opinion, but I would personally rather see them actually at Dick's than at Red Rocks, even just because of the sound, because of the ease. Like I don't want the wind blowing my fish music around. I mean, I love Red Rocks. I spent a lot of time up there too, but Dick's has really been the perfect place for them.
Yeah, I don't think that's an unpopular opinion, or at least, you know what, I'll put it this way. I think that's a pretty well-informed opinion. Put it that way. It's like an embarrassment of riches to be able to choose, right? Because I went to those
totally.
4 nights at Red Rocks in 2009. It was my first time at Red Rocks. I think it was my first time in Colorado. And I was just gobsmacked by everything, by the venue, by Denver. My then girlfriend and I just spent like 3 or 4 days in town. We went to Golden, I think. My friend had a mountain house somewhere near there, and it was like a dream vacation. And we saw Phish at 4 nights at Red Rocks Amphitheater. But I think that's untenable. I don't think they could play 4 nights. What is it, about 7,000 or 9,000 at most?
9,000. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not tenable for especially a holiday weekend run that has now expanded to 4 nights. Not every year, but most years. But it seemed to be when they came back that they were looking for a home base in Colorado. Like a completely different podcast could be held, and I would ask you to join it. Again, Phish's history in Colorado as a state. Like we could just say, for brevity's purposes, like it's a crucial part of the band's history. All the way going back to 1988, right? It would take us a whole season of a podcast to just put the pieces together. Like Phish doesn't exist without Colorado, even for a Burlington-based band. And when they got back, they were touring in a different way. They did an early summer and a late summer leg, right? They would do more 3 or 4 night stands in single venues rather than touring, 1 night per venue. And they kind of had this business mindset in mind, as I saw it. And I think they saw Colorado as kind of a piece of the chessboard. We have to get a place in Colorado that can host us for several nights. Red Rocks was that for the end of July and the beginning of August in 2009. But like we just said, it's not tenable. Red Rocks can't hold Phish 4 nights every year. So in 2010, they played 3 nights, you mentioned it, at the First Bank Center in Broomfield. And from what I saw, it only has because it's been demolished, 6,500 person capacity. So since you saw those shows, what were those shows like?
Broomfield, to be totally honest, it's funny. I didn't love those shows.
Yeah, they're
Actually,
forgotten. I think the
some of
collective memory, they're
my
gone.
yeah, it's funny. So, they all, Phish also played in 2000, 92700 at Fiddler's Green in Southern Colorado. And that Fiddler's Green show, even though it was kind of special for me personally, and those Broomfield shows are like some of my least favorite shows. Broomfield, I have some special memories at that place with other bands. And, the 4 Mile Canyon benefit that was right before those 3 shows. That night was actually really special. So Trey and Mike played, like they did an acoustic set, and then Trey came out, played with Cheese, and like they had all kinds of bands that night. Like that was actually a really special night. The other 3 were like, meh. Yeah.
I know what you mean. There are some shows I've seen locally. Like I've seen so many shows in Madison Square Garden. I live so close to it that I know I was there. I know it
Yeah.
happened, but I can't be able to peg anything particular about that show. Maybe that run I could, but local doesn't always mean an automatically great show outside of the emotion, on a show called Attendance Bias, by the way. But
Right.
well, 2010, it didn't work for them. Broomfield didn't. 2009 was a ton of fun, but to your point earlier, it was very rainy and very windy those 4 nights. So the farther
Yep.
up you went at Red Rocks, it wasn't always the most pleasant show, even though it was a dream to be there. But in 2011, they landed at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and it seemed right away, from what I heard, that they had found their home. It just seemed to
Absolutely.
they locked right in. That puzzle piece or that chessboard, the piece was there. So the first run Phish ever played at Dick's was September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2011. The first show they ever played there, September 2nd, was the S Show, which has been covered on Attendance Bias with a guest, Stephanie Jenkins. And immediately, right away, the band set a precedent and kind of made a statement just to say, don't miss these shows.
I mean, right off the bat, to have the S Show. And then, one of my favorite moments is also on the Sunday. Oh my God, the Ghost Guy Forget. I mean, like that was iconic. Like that the feeling of like, it's almost like I'm obsessed. Like I love talking about olfactory memories. You like walk somewhere, you smell something, you're like taken back to your grandmother's basement, whatever. There is a feeling at Dick's that is like that. and I mean, I think a lot of venues too, like these iconic venues like MSG, like, certain places that you step into and you're like right back to it. But when I listen to that Ghost Guy Forget, I feel the essence of Dick's. And that was the first year. That was Sunday of the first year. I mean, listening to the S show, it's the same thing, but you can almost like feel that sparkle in the air. You do when you walk back into that place, for sure.
I remember where I was when they were playing Dick's. It was at a hotel room. I think my wife at the time, her sister, so my sister-in-law had just gotten engaged, and it was like a little engagement party. And it was in like a Holiday Inn, not a conference room. That sounds a little too
Mm.
shitty, but like a little
Like a suite.
a little suite or like a little catering hall on micro, like a little bit one. And I recently got my first smartphone that I could connect to the internet with a screen and load websites on a phone. Oh my God, my whole world changed. And I remember checking on Phish.net during the S show because I was keeping track of Phish's entire tour, song by song, that whole summer. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? And I had just joined Twitter, I think like a year ago or a summer previously. And I was like, what is going on? And I spent the whole party on my phone. I did hear about it. I did not make a good impression, admittedly, but this was really important. Phish was
Yes,
doing something
totally.
crazy.
I'm embarrassed at how long it took me to figure out they were doing S songs. I'm locked in, I'm locked in, but I'm never the one to get that was guessing, oh, wait, fuck you. Oh, fuck your face, right? Like, and same with the S's. It always takes me a little while to catch up, or, somebody's like, yo, guess what? And you're like, oh, okay, now this is making sense. But it was, yeah, incredibly special.
Right. And it always is. It always seems to be almost to, I won't say to its detriment, but almost to the point where, and it's our fault as fans, where we build up these expectations going into Dick's every
Totally.
year. What are they going to do? And the whole thing is, well, they might just play 3 or 4 great shows. And some people walk away with almost that, like, not a dejected, but like kind of a, oh man, they didn't do much this year. As if seeing Phish 4 nights in a row in this family reunion with 25 or 26,000 people isn't good enough.
Yeah, they owe us, right? We want the full. That's how I felt about Wingsuit too, right? Like some people going to Halloween and they were like, "What? I didn't get a cover," and I'm like, "We all saw a new album released at the same time. It was I thought it was awesome. I mean, it wasn't like it was awesome conceptually, but
I need to have
yeah,
you back. You and I need to have a whole other conversation about the Wingsuit show because I was there as
please.
well. And I think you and I would be this kind of, I think we might be dating ourselves in this reference. But do you remember Crossfire on, I think it was CNN, where it was like
Oh
a
yeah,
political
totally.
debate? I think
Yes.
you and I could have a good conversation about the Wingsuit
Oh,
set,
oh,
about
I'm
that.
into it.
All right. Well,
Let's
we'll
do
put that
it.
on, let's put that on the back burner for now. But at the time, as you mentioned at the very beginning of our conversation, at the time of this recording, you and I, Phish has played Dick's 42 times, either 3 or 4 shows on Labor Day weekend every year, except for the canceled shows of 2020 and last year, 2025, when they took a break from Dick's and played at Folsom Field in Boulder, which I was happy to go to because I can now say I went to see Phish multi-nights on a holiday weekend in the summer. It wasn't
Yeah.
Dick's, but I could still say all those things. So what are some of your favorite memories? I know you came prepared. You made a whole list of all the set lists. If you wanted to go through it, I don't care how you want to do it, year by year, show by show. What are your favorite special memories from Dick's, whether it's personal, musical, combo, either way? I'll just say mine, since I haven't been to any of them, I'm going by set lists and recordings. So mine veer toward the gags and the quote special shows like the S show, most shows spell something, thank you, the encore, fuck your face. To me, I'm a sucker for all that, so I'm automatically going to veer toward those. What are some of your favorite memories, Stacie, from Dick specifically?
Yes, I have quite a few. One of them was that Sunday show in 2011 that I mentioned with the Ghost Guy Forget. Like, that'll still always be like an iconic Dick's moment for me. And that they covered Gillian Welch in the first set too. Just need to note that.
That's the way. That's the way that it goes. Everybody's buying a little bit.
2012, Fuck Your Face, I think out of all of the ones that they spelled, Fuck Your Face and Thank You are my two favorite personally. During that, the Yem with the Dix, We Love Dix vocal jam. Like, it really, like, that felt like they were putting their feet in the ground. They were like, okay, we love dicks. Mike loves dicks. Trey loves dicks. We all love dicks.
We all
right?
love
Like,
dicks, yep.
They put their feet in the ground, I felt like, with that. And I mean, and it was like during such an iconic set. 2013, I'm going through my list here, Brian. 2013, a fan paid for a plane to fly over with a read the book sign, and they played Iculus. I mean, that was I have read the book tattooed on my wrist, right? So I'm, like, I work in libraries. Oh my God, seeing that plane was so awesome. And then for them to respond, I think it's such a great example of the conversation that happens between the band and the fans, right? And that responsiveness. And I think that that's something that's really special to Dick's as a venue. There's something about, like, that veil between the band and the audience is very, very thin at that venue in particular.
I just want to pause and say how happy we are to be here. We are so happy to be here. We love dicks. We love dicks. Look out, I see all of you. I think to myself, wow, that's what I think. I look up in the sky, see planes flying by, guided messages, incredible messages, meaningful, deep, layered messages with layers, reminding me of my youth, my upbringing, Page's youth, Page's upbringing, Mike's youth, Fish's upbringing. We all shared one experience that I'm not sure if any of you shared, but I want to tell you about it before we go on with the concert here at Dick's. Because when we were young, we were lucky. The four of us were very lucky to have been able to read a very special book. Yes, and it was a book by a great man. I think some of you might know who I'm talking about. Some of you may not know who I'm talking about, so please let me just take a moment to tell you, this man was a great man. He was an incredible man, a special man, a learned man. He was the great and knowledgeable. The great and knowledgeable man that I'm telling this story about.
If I had to pick one, this may be the one, but it was Mike doing the Squirming Coil outro in 2016.
I forgot about that.
Holy moly. Like, it was so great. And one of my favorite Phish photographs of all time is Renee's capture of Trey, Phish, and Page side stage watching Mike on bass, like over their shoulders, like one of my favorite Phish photographs of all time. But Mike doing that coil outro was really special. That's definitely up there for me. Some of the most epic first time heard for me have happened at Dick's. Landlady to open the show the night of Thank You, last night at 2015. It was like you could hear everybody's not heard list get checked off at the same time. Like there were so many of us that had Landlady at the very top of our songs not heard list, and it was just this it was like truly this collective check. And I feel like when they play Take the A Train next, it's going to be like everybody.
I was right about to say that. I'm going to see them until who's ever in their grave first, whether it's them or me. I'm going to see them until it happens. And I swear it's Take the A Train that I'm waiting for. I don't really chase songs anymore.
Yeah.
I got to see, it was 2023 at the Madison Square Garden, the New Year's game henge, and they played Tila, which was kind of like my white whale. Like I feel like by this point I should have seen Tila. And like 2 years before that, Karina. So I have like my little picks of the shows of the songs that I want to see and haven't but want to, and it meant something special. Now it's just a matter of numbers. Now it's impersonal. Now it's what is it? Songs most likely to have seen, like whatever the statistic is.
Yes.
It's at the top of everyone is Take the A Train.
Yeah.
they're going to play 5 shows at MSG this summer. I gotta, fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Okay. I hope I'll be jamming out next to you. So landlady, so like epic first time herds for myself personally. That landlady accessed me in 2019. I have to tell you something funny. Like 2019 was one of the ones, that wasn't as notable. But I do have a playlist of 2019 highlights, in my live Phish app, and it's just access me like 20 times. My friends and I send it back and forth, but access me, that was great.
The first time I came over, I was bitten by your dog. You weren't even there, you were walking in the park. Call you up and plead and beg, talk to your machine. Your friends say not to bother when you're acting pretty mean. I don't need to bother you, no, I won't play that part. I just want access to the inside of your heart. Access to your thoughts on the way that I should be. So I can start to change and maybe you can access me, access me.
Can I interrupt you about Access Me for a second?
Please.
So
please.
Occasionally I have, and I would guess the same about you, even though this is the first time we're speaking, I have Phish dreams every once in a while, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
I had a dream once that I was going to see Cake live, the band Cake, and they were playing Access Me. Imagine, just think about it for a second. I know this is an audio medium and we have people listening and they can't hear it, but just imagine in your head the band Cake and their style singing Access Me. I think it could happen.
Dude, I hear what you're hearing. I can see it totally. I think that'd be a great cover for them. What a great dream. Yes, I do dream about Phish.
What about more recent highlights? What about a 2019 forward?
So, oh my gosh. Okay, this is the most epic. Sticking kind of still with this like first time herds. The Catapult in 2021. The simple Catapult mead stick. Holy moly! Like I had been chasing that, and like it was like the most incredible way to get it. That was a very cool moment. And then, the covers over the years, of course, and then like all the heavy hitters, right? Like the Light Jam 2012, Simple 2014. First show post curveball free into Harryhood to open the show was like the balm, the catharsis that we needed to dry our tears, like after Curveball. 2012, or I'm sorry, post 2019, one that comes to mind for me specifically is actually the Melt, Split Open and Melt in 2022, because I believe that was when they truly handed over the keys to Kuroda for Melt. Melt is now, every time it's a Kuroda song. And I mean, of course, he did amazing things before, but there was something about that 2022 Melt that they basically just handed the keys over to him and said, do your thing. And like the configurations and the light show during Melt now, I think of it not from the song and the jam of the song. I think of it of like, what's Kuroda gonna do?
I agree with you. I have a complicated relationship with Split Open and Melt, but I'll try to think about it that way the next time I see it live.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do, because it's like, what the fuck are they? What the heck are they doing, right? Like, it gets real weird and gets real dark. But now I just watch the light show because I'm like, what's he gonna do? And then I will say too, in preparing for this conversation, going back to 2024 was exceptional, I thought, and big year for them. We had Sphere, right? We had Monda Green. We were coming off the heels of Gamehenge. They were they had been putting in their time, exceptional playing. I felt like 2024 run had some of the energy of those early Dick's shows, but with the precision of 2024. And Monda, like the pressure was off from the festival, and it just felt like they could just be Phish. And we got the Sabotage. I got the Dog Log. I was chasing that one too, one. But that whole run, I was listening to that again this week, is really fantastic. Great jamming, great song selection.
I have two Dick-specific questions to ask you before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Number one, yes or no, is Dick's part of the summer tour?
Ooh, I say yes.
I say yes also, by the way. A lot of people disagree with us. Like, I always ask people when they talk about fall 97, I always ask, well, does the New Year's run count? Like, if you're making a compilation, let's say. A lot of people disagree. I add it on.
Yeah.
I think Dick's, I know it's its own standalone thing, because this year, I think, what is it, like almost a month after the summer tour ends? I still think it's part of the summer tour because Labor Day is the end of the summer.
Yeah. I mean, if they announced Dick's by itself, right?
That's a different story.
Right? That's a different story. So
right.
Yeah. Whatever the band says, right? They're in charge.
Right. It only counts when it's on .com. So my last question, if you could think back 15 years, right, to 2011, is there anything that was part of the Phish at Dick's experience then, if you could pull it forward to 2026, you kind of have a space-time wormhole. what would you do? What would you take from 2011 and drag it back into 2026 Phish at Dick's?
Let's camp one more time. I mean, I love sleeping in my bed these days. I'm a lot older now, but yeah, I think it's pretty fun.
Well, Stacie, thank you so much for giving us a quick heads up and more of a deep dive than anything, because I feel like this summer there are certain venues that they're playing that I feel a little silly even doing preview episodes, where it's like Deer Creek, what else is there to know that people don't already know? Madison Square Garden, what else is there to know? And Dick's is in that category. So I'm really glad and appreciative of you to really take us deep into the music year by year and what it's meant to you over the course of this last decade and a half. So thank you for taking the time to not only give us the nuts and bolts about Dick's, but also your personal experience. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
And that's it for today's episode and for this whole mini-series. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and for today I'd like to thank Stacie Ledden for joining me. I'd like to thank Phish.in for all of the recordings used in today's episode, Phish.net for everything they do, and the Mockingbird Foundation for everything they do to help children's music education. If you enjoy Attendance Bias, please support the show. You can visit www.buymeacoffee.com/attendancebias and donate anything you can. You can follow Attendance Bias on social media, and you could reach out in the show notes by sending fan mail. Thank you again so much for listening, and I'll see you next time on Attendance Bias.